In this video, I want to talk about a few apps that I use pretty regularly for my music practice. They're really good for learning new musical concepts and reinforcing them, as well as just improving the general quality of music that you make. The first is the Voice Memos app. It's probably called something different on Android, but pretty much every smartphone has a native voice recorder. And I use this for recording myself when I've, been practicing something for a while. It helps me get an idea of what kind of progress am I making. Sometimes I find that I played something better than I thought. Sometimes I found that there are things that I need to improve that I wasn't hearing before. Also, sometimes I'll play, one duet part and I will, just play the recording back and play the other part to it. It's quite fun. So here's an example of some audio I captured earlier. Here's a sample of audio recorded on my iPhone. I have no compression, no effects, nothing. And it's actually not a bad sound. So if you're just recording your practice to listen back, it doesn't have to be studio quality, and I find that this does the job really well. One thing you want to do, at least on the iPhone, is go into your settings and change your audio quality to lossless. The default setting is compression, which means that it's going to compress those files so that they take up less space, but they're going to be a lower quality of recording. So lossless is not going to compress them, and it's going to be a higher quality recording. Now, if you have a phone with a smaller hard drive, or if you don't have a lot of space on your phone, that might be something to consider, but I don't really have that big of a problem with it. So the next app that I really like is an app called Theory. This costs about $3, I think, and it's a whole bunch of music theory lessons going everywhere from the basics, here's the staff, blah, 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 all the way through chord progressions and even Neapolitan chords and an analysis of the Beethoven Moonlight Sonata. It's really such a powerful app. And the same people make an app called Tenuto, and Tenuto is where Theory is lessons, Tenuto is exercises. So it'll show you a note, and you can, you have to punch in the name of the note, and it keeps track of your progress, and it has things like scale identification, key signature construction, note identification, fretboard note identification, all kinds of cool stuff, ear training. Between Theory and Tenuto, there's about the same amount of information that you'd get out of the first year or two of an undergraduate music theory degree, so that's such a powerful set of apps. The next app is the Tonal Energy Tuner, and costs about $5. And this is a real powerhouse of an app. So it's really essentially it's a combination of a tuner and a metronome, but it's a little more than that. So the first option we have down here on the bottom is the tuner, and you can see it's kind of freaking out right now because it's listening to my spoken voice. But basically, if you were to hold a note with your voice or on your instrument, it would tell you what note you're playing and how far out of tune it is. This is really, really useful. The next option is the sound wheel, and so this basically just plays a sound out loud. So let's say you're playing a passage in D major and you want to tune all those notes to the note D. You would hit sustain and then D. I find this really, really useful. You can also play multiple notes, kind of your choice. You can change the sound. I like the bass clarinet sound, but you can even just have like a sine wave or a square wave or saw wave. There's another option here that's really cool, and if you see down here, there's this microphone plus a couple eighth notes, and when I press this, I get these options. Just leave it on U for unison. This works best with headphones, but basically what this does is as you play through something slowly, it listens to every note and then plays that pitch back to you so you can really hear whether or not you're on top of the note or if you're a little sharp or a little flat. This is so cool, especially if you're practicing pieces that, maybe don't really fall into a particular key signature. I'm looking at you, Hindemith, or maybe you're even playing some Schoenberg and it's all 12 tone and there's no key signature, and so it's just a whole mess. It's really, really useful for that. The next option is analysis. Now, I'll be honest, I don't really use this a lot. Basically, the point is that it's supposed to keep track of your playing and show you a trend of your intonation. It's a little sensitive, though. I even have it set on wide, so the in-tune range is plus or minus 10 cents, which is kind of a lot. And I've even done this where I'll sit down and just play a really slow D major scale and just nail every note in tune, and then it'll tell me I'm 45% out of tune. So try it out if you want. I don't find it that useful, but it's an option for this app. The next thing we have is the metronome, and of course everyone needs a metronome. It's such an important thing to use when you're practicing, and this thing does basically everything you need to. You can set the meter, and there's a whole lot of options, even some weird combination time signatures, 9/8. You can set your subdivision to a lot of different wonky things. Of course, you can change what beats are emphasized. You can even have it skip beats if that's something you want to practice. One cool thing you can do is set up presets. So if you have a piece of music that's constantly changing time signatures and you want to make sure you're really feeling those downbeats, and you can't find it up in here. Let's say you have like 11/8 and you're going, 3, 3, 2, 3. I think that adds up to 11, but you get the idea. You can set this up to have those beats. Maybe you have a piece of music that changes tempo suddenly. You can have this set up to do that. Of course, you can tap in your tempo. You can pull up this wheel and change your tempo. It's really nice. You can change accents. It can flash when the metronome goes. You can change your sounds, whatever. It's really, really an awesome app. I use it every single time I practice, not only to tune my instrument, but to practice rhythms and intonation. The next app is a little bit more expensive than the others. It costs about $15, but there is a free version you can try to just kind of get an idea of what the app does. And it's called the Amazing Slowdowner, and it does exactly what it sounds like. So what you can do with the Slowdowner is you can import a song, either from Spotify, Apple Music, or from whatever's loaded onto your hard drive. And in this case, I'm going to go to Spotify, and I'm going to go to the Prelude from the Cello Suite in G Major by Yo-Yo Ma. And it will pull that track up, and there's a lot of options here, so let's walk through this. Don't worry about the mix, it's not really that important. Pitch. So this literally does what it says. It changes the pitch by a number of semitones at a time. So let's say you wanted to learn this prelude, but you want to learn it on an instrument besides cello, and G major just does not work. And let's say you want to do it in E major. Then you could transpose it down 3 semitones to get E major. You could transpose it up, whatever you need to for whatever key you're playing in. Speed does exactly what it says. It just changes the speed. So if you're someone who likes to learn by ear, or you really want to learn what a particular performer does in a piece, but things are going by too fast, you can change the speed. Now, a lot of other times, different apps, if you change the speed, it kind of makes the sound either, metallic or just doesn't sound good, but this app does a really great job with preserving sound quality. So let's lower this to 75%. Come here. Yeah, close enough. And we'll see what it sounds like. Now here's the actual speed, 100%. So you can see I don't lose a whole lot of sound quality. The next thing we can do that's awesome with this app is, let's say you want to learn one particular part. You want to learn like a guitar solo from, an M on Amarth song. Okay, so what you would do is you would click this loop button here, and right now the loop is off. So you would turn that on, and then you would find where your loop starts, and then select where your loop ends, and you can see the play module down here has changed to reflect the length of the song, right? And then it will loop that little chunk that you've gotten, and you can just learn it that way. So those are some apps that I use quite often in my practicing. I find them super helpful. I hope you give them a try. Let me know what you think. If there's any apps that you use that I haven't talked about here, let me know and I'll give them a look, and maybe I'll review them in another video. Anyway, I hope you guys have fun, happy practicing, and explore some cool apps.